This thunder will be felt across the land.
All right, so now we're going to do question and answer. And this is the best part because this is not question, answer. This is question and answer where if you have a question, you can ask it. Or if you have a statement, you can say it. If you have the answer, please raise your hand to answer. I don't have to answer every question. I'm not a leader here. I'm just one of you disseminating information. And so feel free, if you have a thought, to share it. We want to talk about the petition, anything from today, even if it's not today. Maybe you have something that you want to talk about. Doesn't have to be related with abortion, whatever. But don't leave here with assumptions that you think you know something, or maybe I've rubbed you the wrong way. I've said something wrong. Maybe you can hear it from someone else in the room differently. So I want to leave. We have a half hour for that, and we'll have dinner. I want to open it up for questions, and I'm going to stand here just to, do this. But if you know the answer to the question, please do it. And young people, you can ask questions too.
What was the National Right to Life's reasoning for opposing the Oklahoma resolution?
The National Right to Life opposed the abolition of abortion because they felt that it would undo the laws that the pro-life movement had put in place. Laws that they outlawed an instrument. They said you can't use this particular instrument in abortion. And there's 4 videos that I can send you with Tony Lowinger, Vice President, talking with Russell Hunter, which is one of the people in the Abolitionist Society, and you can hear the conversation. I'd be happy to send it to you. But basically, the pro-life laws that regulate abortion would be overturned by the abolition of abortion. Which, why do you need to regulate it if it's abolished? That's our position, and that. Joseph Silk's mom went down there, and she was begging that guy would, because all that man would have had to do is tell the senators to vote, and they would have voted, and he told them not to. So that was the reasoning, I can send you several videos because we have it all on video. We have his letter, and I don't know if I answered your question, but if you ask again, or maybe I'll if you have thoughts on it too.
So they were probably thinking that the resolution would get overturned, and then in the meantime, all those other laws would have already gone by the wayside, and they'd be left with zero.
That could be, but I don't think that would have happened. I don't think those 2 results would have happened together. That was the idea. Like, what he's saying is, if you had have done the abolition bill, it would have overturned all these other existing laws, and then you would have been back to square one with abortion the way it was, right?
Assuming that the Supreme Court would overturn the abolitionist resolution.
Yes, and I don't know the question on there, but the laws in place are like, you can't use this instrument to murder a child. So you can use another instrument, that's fine, but you can't use this instrument. So it's like there are laws that are, they're evil laws. They're laws telling you how you can murder a child. So there's another man, I forget his name, but he actually sued the National Right to Life because what he said is after Roe versus Wade is abolished, after Roe versus Wade is overturned, the pro-life laws that are on the books will keep abortion legal. So if we were to overturn Roe versus Wade, the pro-life laws, the way they're written, would allow for abortion because of the way they're written. And I have a video on that I can share with you too. I'm not a genius on law, but these people talk about it, and I hear and I kind of say, this is what's happening. So the personhood bill, like what we talked about this morning, the personhood bill, yay, personhood. But they, like he said, went further than Roe versus Wade. Roe versus Wade doesn't say it's a person and you can kill it. Roe versus Wade said we're not sure, but you can have an abortion. Where the new pro-life personhood bill in Texas says it is a person and you can kill the person. So that pro-life law is, like he said, going further than Roe versus Wade and making it worse for the unborn. So there is the pro-life laws. When Roe versus Wade is overturned, the pro-life laws, then we'll have to start overturning pro-life laws because they will keep abortion legal after Roe versus Wade. Does that make sense? And I don't expect you to take my word for it, but I can send you the link. That's what I'm saying. I'll send you the links to it. But it's hard to think about because you're passing laws and you're saying, well, let's, like Texas, let's not kill the baby after 20 weeks. We'll kill it before, but not after. Well, that's a law they put there. So they're going to have to deal with that law once Roe versus Wade is appealed. They're going to have to say, oh, well, okay, we have to change this law. And who knows how long that's going to take to do that, and how long that will allow abortion to remain going on. That's the idea. So, does everybody understand what he asked? And did I clarify? Okay. Thank you. And if you have more to say, I'm happy to hear it. Go ahead.
What was his name? Joseph. How do you spell
Silk.
it?
S-I-L-K, yeah. If you go on, his election day is a few days away. If you go on his site, share his stuff, and if you know someone in Oklahoma, he's going through a pretty good battle, I guess. We think he's going to win, but. Fabian?
Do you need permits to go to high school?
No. His question is, do you need permits to go to the high school? Someone else want to answer it? Sorry.
It's public property, so as long as you stay on public property, you don't need anything because you're on public land. Yep. They'll sometimes come out and try to stretch their boundaries and tell you, this fence right here is our property, so you can't be on the sidewalk on this side of that fence when their fence goes inside the sidewalk. But it's just, you have to take for what you want to do in that situation, building your relationship with the school, et cetera, et cetera. So just think about it, but yeah, as long as you're on the sidewalk, you're fine.
But yeah, the high school is near my home, and so I went there myself, but it's a two-way, it's a four-lane street. It's kind of occupied, but the fence is right on the sidewalk. It's only a small sidewalk. For the longest time on the sidewalk, I'm okay.
And they'll even tell you they don't want signs leaning against their fence, most likely. They don't want you leaning against their fence. So just, try and be respectful, especially when you very first start, so you can stay there longer.
If you get asked to move or you get asked to do something, the police come and say, hey, you know what, you can't be here, you need to move. Police can lie to you, and they will. So that you ask them very nicely, say, I'm willing to move, I want to comply, I want to be legal, but I just want to know, if I don't move, are you going to arrest me? That you're making them say yes. If they say yes, okay, you would like to get that on video camera. If they say yes, you say, thank you much, see you later, and you go to your lawyer and you say, okay, what happened here? And the lawyer can take it up. You're not going to win any money from doing that, but you will protect the First Amendment it will teach that officer, it is good, violating the First Amendment is a constitutional infraction, which the department is guilty, but also the person is guilty. So I warn the police officers, say, look, if you violate the First Amendment, not only is your department going to be sued, but you personally can be sued. So I don't want that to happen. I just want to be real clear, and usually they call their sergeant, and they call other people, and they say, never mind. You stay there and do what you want. So we have, because of our liberal state, we have very liberal laws, and we have a lot of freedoms that other states don't have because we're so liberal. So the liberals have done one thing good. They've given us a lot of liberty. We can go into Walmart and give stuff. We can go, we have a lot of freedoms that other states don't have because we're so liberal.
Walmart, I've been thrown out of Walmart for
Drop carting?
Yeah.
You can be in the inside of Walmart, you can be thrown out, but you can go out front of their door and you can hand stuff out on private property because I forget the decision, but there was a court decision that said First Amendment in California, First Amendment trumps private property rights. So if it's If it's a grocery store center, you know, you can go there. You have Girl Scouts and all that kind of stuff there because First Amendment. I sign collecting signatures out front of Walmart and so.
No, you know, I just, last year or so, getting to know you and so much, I was telling Bailey, I've been wrestling so much, and I've shared with you, you know, I have so many friends who involved in CPC's pro-life movement, as you label it, or whatever, and, I mean, they would weep with joy to hear abortion was abolished. And, you know, I have seen so many times when I feel like God is not going to honor something unless his own body is somehow functioning together. And, you know, I hear terms like pro-life industry and things like that. And, you know, I don't know about the heads of these groups, but I'm talking about my friends who just hate the thought of abortion, maybe grieve over having had one, volunteer in CPCs, love people. And without their support, this isn't going to happen. What have you found is the biggest thing that has divided? And again, let's leave the words pro-life industry and whoever's the head of whatever these organizations.
Mm-hmm.
The average Christian who just believes abortion's wrong. Is it the word murder? I mean, what is it that has, for the most part, divided the lay people just who hate this sin and are so divided? I mean, within God's own rank, what have you seen?
The number one thing that divides people is the gospel. That we say this movement must be biblical, must be providential. We're not pragmatic. It must be gospel-centered. It must be the fourth one obligation of the church. That we're saying we're going to follow the Bible has been the most divisive thing. I'm going to give you an example of my mother-in-law. She runs a pregnancy counseling center, has for a long time. And I was up there a month ago. She gave me this pamphlet. It's a paper to stand up on. It's for youth. You go through the paper. It has every argument you can possibly imagine on abortion. Tells you everything except two things. I have to read it very carefully. I read it quickly, and I'll go back and read it again because I want to make sure I'm absolutely certain. It doesn't say that abortion is wrong, and it doesn't say why abortion's wrong. Okay? You want to go climb Mount Everest? They're going to tell you everything you need to know about it. They're going to tell you that people die, that avalanches happen, that all these things, and this is what the literature is coming out. It's telling you all these bad stories about abortion. And that's great, but I can go online and find all the good stories about abortion. There's a movement called Shout Your Abortion. There's a movement saying how great your abortion was. And we saw Wendy Davis, a senator, saying, oh, it was great. I wanted my child, except she had a brain defect, so I murdered her. And people accept that. So we're saying, no, we have to hold to the gospel. This needs to be biblical. And there's a major conflict there. That's where the battleground is. And we did not expect it. As abolitionists, we thought, this is easy. We're going to have Christians, of course, we're really in the pro-life movement, there's nobody saying we need to take the gospel into conflict with child sacrifice. There's nobody saying Christian people. And so my mother-in-law, that's where I started. My mother-in-law, and I took that to her and I said, look, I just want to show you. And I tried to say it nicely. I said, this is a pro-choice publication. It has all the right arguments, but it never says abortion is wrong. The only way you can say abortion is wrong if you talk about the gospel, because God says it's wrong. Otherwise, everything's relative. And it doesn't say why it's wrong. That God says, thou shalt not murder. And so, that's the divide. And it's the divide for Christians. And it's the divide for those in the pro-life movement. And the thing is that my mother-in-law, she didn't think about it. She didn't put the publication out. She saw it for what it is, and it has good arguments in it. It's beautiful. It looks like it will attract young people, and that's all they're looking at. But we don't. You have something to add?
Yeah, I think my simple thought of the divisiveness is that the language we use is offensive, and it's going to, it's, even though it is the gospel, and Christians might agree that the gospel maybe is a good idea, they feel like saying the gospel to somebody, which is, it's sin, we'd like to show you, tell you about Jesus so that you can repent and have forgiveness, even though it sounds good, they think it's offensive and that somebody won't want to save that child because of that language we used. So to me, that's kind of what it has come down to in my observation and understanding.
The word sin, repent, murder.
Yeah.
The gospel. And my mother-in-law was offended at what I said, I could tell. And I just left it there, and I just said, I don't say this because I'm mad or I don't like this publication. It's just, it either is true or it isn't true. Either this publication is telling that young people, and this literature is, I was at Templeton High School when Texas passed the 20-week abortion ban. And the students in Templeton were saying you can't have abortions at all after 20 weeks. For California, you can, all 9 months. In the United States, all 9 months of pregnancy. Even the partial birth abortion ban is a joke. Because it doesn't save any lives, because you just can murder the baby, when it's up to the navel instead of up to the neck. That's not changing whether you can murder a child. It's just saying you have to only take it to the navel, I think. Something like that. So, but that is training people. And they're telling you, and the whole nation heard what happened in Texas, and it just conditioned the mind to accept abortion in a different way. And so that's what, when we put out publications, when we put out literature, people say, oh, you're such a stickler on, the gospel being there. Yeah, because when we get to the end of the day, if that's not in there, well, they're just going to laugh and throw it around. Exactly. The Bible says it's foolishness to those that are perishing. Okay, but we are here for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. We are fishers of men. So that's why pragmatism goes out the window. And we obey rather than, and it's hard. Have I answered your question? Does anyone else have something to say on that topic? Deborah, go ahead.
The Bible tells us to go. And so things too that in California they used to be called crisis pregnancy centers, but the pregnancy centers now have to put up a phone number as an option for abortion. So like for instance, Bakersfield, this great big billboard, they took it down now because I posted it. I don't know why they took it down, but I posted it a number of times showing a pregnancy test. Pregnant, now what? Well, for options, no, there's no option. There's options like adoption, whatever, but they're opening the door to the fact that, well, you could abort, but you could do this over here. We don't want to offer them. As Christians, we don't want to offer abortion as an option, And so people, when you have in Valley Baptist in Bakersfield, you'll have like 3,000 or 4,000 people come
CPC legally has to
Yep.
have an option for abortion?
They have to tell them about the
It's over
option.
the CareNet now.
And that, the court case that the court case was, that the law was, they lost the court case against it. So now every crisis pregnancy, like Tree of Life, is defying California government if they don't post that, which they are defying them, and lots of CPCs are defying them, and there's no regulation, like they say there's no one enforcing that law. So,
No.
but they're in defiance, and they're not forcing it now, but when they want to enforce it, they flip a switch and shut them down or take them over. So every CPC that we're supporting now in California is by law required to give the option of abortion and give information of where to get it, how to get it.
So the church used to be the pregnancy center help, you know? The church itself, the church body would help. As soon as they went with CareNet and these other places, they relinquished all of that and gave it over to the state.
The church still helps. The church is still helping. The church is still doing what it's supposed to do.
When you say give it over to the state, what do you mean by that?
I'm sorry?
You said give it over to the state?
Like,
What do you
like
mean
now
by
the
that?
state has that control to make that demand on you, where when the church, when we would call the church, we still do these things after 28, 30 years, still do it, but it's frustrating when someone says, well, I go to Valley Bible, you know, and then we call Valley Bible, we have a person here that says she goes to your church. Well, she may not really be a member. She may just, you know, we're getting flack. Instead of sending someone, could you send someone down here and minister to this person? The church body is doing what the church is called to do and love our neighbor and love our unborn neighbor. We wouldn't be giving it to the state to do. And so the church has failed to be Christian.
The relinquish. I think what she was saying about the relinquishing the responsibility is hiring, like the churches in our. You go to the church, you say, "What are you doing about abortion?" They say, "Well, we're giving money to the Pregnancy Counseling Center." So the church has relinquished their duty to care for the unborn, orphan, widow, and to the CPC. So you no longer go to the church for help. You go to the CPC, and when you go to the church for help, they refer you to the CPC. And
Right.
now the CPC is coming to the government regulation.
Well, isn't every, was it 503?
503.
I mean, which is churches and CPC, it's all under the regulation of the state.
Yeah.
So as soon as you go to that designation, I mean, they can just do that with the church too.
It used to be that there would be people in the church that would take a pregnant girl in.
Yeah,
Or someone
yeah.
help her through her
If
pregnancy.
I can interject something, except for as soon as the government steps into the church now, in California, we almost had a situation where you must turn over your sermons. In fact, in Canada right now, you must turn over your sermons. I know a pastor up there that right now, he has to send it in, they have to okay it, and they have to send it back. Problem is, once you get that here, then Christians might do something. It's still doubtful. All the churches that I know of in our city, they would go, well, you know, we have to do it, so we have to do it. But at that point, when you have the government involvement, especially when it comes to their tax-exempt status, which is what the government is holding over their head, they go, well, you guys are now infringing upon our First Amendment right. They never do that unless their tax-exempt status is being held over their head. So it's a little bit different scenario when you go, the government cannot say, because of the First Amendment, here's what you guys have to do as a church. They can say, well, because you are a public entity to the CPC, you're a public entity now. You must comply with our laws because of health, finances, whatever. You must now comply with that law. I don't know if that helps, but
I think too that like churches in California, I believe, have to pay for. I think they have to pay for their employees' abortions. And I don't know if that law. I know that the churches were rallying to sue and do something. I don't know where that litigation is, if it's passed or failed. But you know, as far as the church is being told, it's like, yeah, you have to pay for your employees' abortions. So any church my understanding is any church in our state, they are required to do that by law. And so there was a hubbub about it 6 or 8 months ago, where churches were saying, "We'll, die rather than do that." And I don't know what happened. So I guess.
Well, one of the churches that we went to,
Mm-hmm.
one of the persons that marched up kind of angry at us was somebody that had been on the board at CPC for 30 years plus. And he said, all you can do is pray. We have to abide by what the Supreme Court said.
Mm-hmm.
And there we were,
Yeah.
we had already seen this video. And then here we have somebody that's not even going to challenge it at all. We have to just pray, and this is the way it's going to be. And he was on that board. He had a lot of influence on it. I'm not saying that we don't need them. We need all of these groups, but we need to be on the same page. So when you come to Bakersfield, you can have Right to Life that has acceptance. You're going to have the Catholics that have their situation. You're going to have, and then they'll say, can't we just come in one accord for life? That would be great to do. But then you've got all these other things that we think, that we read in the Word of God that He calls abominations out on the sidewalk. And you cannot be one accord in that situation. We've got different pro-life groups. They're just not published. They're not 100%. It's wrong. It's not even about calling it evil, calling it murder. No, we just don't want to have that 100%. Do away with abortion 100%. So it's frustrating.
So we're kind of at where we want to start dinner. We do have a drop dead out of here by 7. So we want you to relax and have dinner. But if I start moving you out at 6:45, huh?
We can continue to converse.
Yeah, we can continue to converse in there and eat dinner. We have some soups, and it should be a nice dinner. Don't want you to rush, but just so you know the situation I and Bailey are in, if we start to get up and say, like, get out of here, we're not being rude. We just have obligations. So, all right, so let's, do you want to close us in prayer, you feel like? All right, I would love it if you did that.
You guys mind if we just stand? Father God, I thank you so much for your presence here today. As we lift Danny and Kathy, especially in Bailey today. Thank you for their heart to step out and do this, and to gather us. I ask you, Holy Spirit, I thank you that you are here, and I ask that you just move in a mighty way and take every seed planted today that was your planting and just water and bring it to a tremendous harvest and lead us and guide us to your plan and path in this Holocaust. You ask that you would just give us tender hearts. You know what needs to be done. I'm sorry for every role we have ever played for complacency or fear or ignorance, but I just ask that you would help us and guide us in the days and months ahead to just be your hands and feet in every way, reflect you and bear your image to this world in every way. I also ask you to go ahead and bless this meal and our fellowship over it, and every person's drive home, that you would just take them home safely and just thank you. Thank you so much for who you are. And I ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you for coming today, and please enjoy dinner and fellowship after.